got to move into Vegas immersion, got to go out 6 nights a week to the hottest clubs you could ever possibly imagine, got to finally have a place where I can stay and not have to like leave girls behind every weekend, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the funny thing happened, the first few months I was there, I was so excited and so happy. You guys can hear me in the back, yeah? Yes? Yeah, so excited and happy and like popping it off. And I was just like, I was rolling through girls like you wouldn't believe. I think I was, at one point I was on a pace. I was basically going out 3 nights a week in Vegas. And I had 1 night that I designated as coaching nights and 2 nights that I designated as pulling nights. I was pulling literally 100% of my pulling nights. And I was pulling like between the first and third set I would open every night. So I was just so excited about games, so happy, so positive, so upbeat. And then something happened, which is I went out 6 days a week for basically 6 months straight. And I got to the point where I'm like, oh, here we go again. Next night out. And it started to feel like work. And then even though my technical game was getting better, and even though I'm still pulling a pretty decent amount, it didn't have that same sort of magic to it. It didn't have that same sort of fire to it. I started to feel a little bit burnt out. I started thinking back on my life and started thinking back on what I've been doing and what really got me to when things were going really well and when things weren't going well. And I realized that the single biggest thing that's going to change almost anything in your game is a matter of perspective, right? How many of you guys love your jobs? Raise your hand. Love everything about your jobs. Cool. How many of you guys don't like your jobs so much? Hate your jobs? Cool. Now, the funny thing about that, the guys who love your jobs, like, I'm super psyched for you. I'm very proud of you. Very few people actually can say that. So it's amazing how many people in this room can actually say that. That's really, really cool. Like, I almost want to like do like a round of applause for the people that love their jobs in here. It's actually fucking cool. It's like actually pretty awesome, right? But for the rest of us who like at moments, and I will be one of the ones in the room that I love my job. I really do. But there are moments when you don't love it so much. And those of you who have that perspective of not so much liking your job or not so much liking what you do in your life or some responsibilities you have, think to yourself that there are probably thousands, if not millions of people in the world that if you drop that job would do anything and everything to have that job you hate. Make myself get in state and force myself to be on all the time and force myself to be a role model. No. I get to do that. I get to step up and go out to one of the hottest clubs in the world. I get to have a bunch of people that are living with me, putting pressure on me on a constant daily basis to be my absolute best day in and day out, which is fucking hard work. It's a lot of pressure. But in the last 6 months, I look at where I've come in terms of my game, in terms of my public speaking, in terms of my time management, in terms of finally I'm learning to actually be a business person and actually delegate things instead of just being self-employed. And I look at all that, and it's been so fucking hard, but it's so rewarding, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. So that's the biggest thing I want to get across to you guys, is to understand that in almost anything you do, perspective is everything, right? In game. Instead of thinking, oh my God, I'm so nervous, I have approach anxiety, I don't want to go talk to that hot girl. Think to yourself, I'm one of the few people who's lucky enough to be in a room with this hot girl and have the opportunity to go make something of it. I'm the one who's lucky enough to go be able to experiment and try something out. I'm the one who has their needs met to that level where I can do that. I'm also the one that's lucky enough that it's 2013 and there's a lot of theory on how to do this, and I don't have to just do this on my own and bang my head against the wall. Because when I started out, that's what I had to do. Right? When I started out, there was no pickup community. There was nobody learning this shit. All right? My version of game was walk up to a girl and make the worst small talk ever, and then be tolerated like mildly and barely politely, and then every single set, no matter how bad it was, be like, it was nice talking to you, what was your number? That's it. She'd be like, I really have to go, I don't want to talk to you. I'm like, oh, it was nice talking to you, what's your number? That was like the only positive gaming move I knew how to do was ask for a phone number. That's the only thing I did right for the first like 7 months in game. All right? And I had no one telling me what to do, no one giving me any advice. So just take a second. And I know you guys, I can tell you all like excited to be here, but I want you to like really, really, really be excited to be here, because you have no idea how fucking lucky you are that you're in game at a time where there is all this stuff and there are these resources. And I want you to take one other second and try and think to yourself at the start of this, as you listen to me talk and as you listen to Julian talk and Owen talk, take a second and think to yourself about what it was that got you into game in the first place. What it was that got you to start studying this stuff, and what it is you really want out of it. okay? Because that perspective is important as well. That perspective is gonna also change everything, okay? If you want to have the most amazing girlfriend or wife, that's gonna be a different focus and a different way of going about game than if you want to have a harem of 20 girls, right? It's true. If on a given night your priority is I want to get laid the highest percentage of nights, that's a different strategy than I want to go after the hottest girl in the club. It's completely different. So I want you guys to actually think about it, because a lot of people get in a game and they start going about this sort of blindly following, oh, this is what Julian did, so that's what I'm going to do. Or this is what Owen said, so I think it must be always the right thing, okay? That's not the case. The right thing for game is what's right for you, which is why we have a lot of different instructors here at RC, is just why we have 3 different guys speaking to you today. It's so that you can learn those different perspectives. So don't go about this trying to become a poor version of me or of Julian or of Tyler. Go about it to be the best you that you can possibly be. That's what you should aspire to, all right? So take a second. I'm actually gonna just give you literally 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, and think to yourself, what is it that you really want out of the game? And actually think about it. Good. Good. All right. How many of you have actually done that sometime in the last month or 2? Good. Good audience. So that's like a fourth of the room maybe, something like that, which is actually really, really good. The other 3/4 of you, get on it. What I was doing for a while that I think worked pretty well for me was I set myself a quota, if that makes sense. So say I'm like, this is a video that's not going out. Okay, video is gonna get me in trouble. But basically what I was trying to do when I was living in Vegas was I was trying to keep a quota of 2 local girls maximum and 3 multi-city girls maximum. And by doing that, I forced myself to at least be focused and not get too big of a harem, not be spending too much time, wasting too much time with too many different girls. And the nice thing about having the numbers there is every time you're talking to a girl, you are actually evaluating and you are actually upgrading, but you're not in such a mood to upgrade because you kind of have locked in what you want. Does that make sense? So you're not going out thinking I want to upgrade, but then when you meet someone and it is a direct comparison advantage, then you can do it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with actually upgrading. I don't think there's anything wrong with getting better and better girls in your life when there's a direct comparison, you like one more. There's absolutely can never be anything wrong with that, right? The thing that's wrong with the grass is always greener thing is the being unhappy that it creates. It's when you're unhappy with the situation both times, right? Yeah. So the issue I run into sometimes is I go out to a club with my girlfriends or a girl that I'm seeing, and I look around and I'm thinking, oh my God, why am I not gaming all these other girls? What is this bullshit, right? Yeah,
well, it's kind of I become attached to her as a person. That I see other girls and I'm like, if I can have this person in that body, why not? But you don't know. You just don't know.
Well, you can always find out. Yeah. But the big thing that I've found that does make the difference for me, and this is a bit of a more, you have to get to know the girls a bit more to do this, but the girls that can keep me are, in spite of the grass is always greener thing, are the girls that enhance my life in some way. If a girl actually helps me with my work, she has a much, much better chance of keeping me. If a girl will come out on boot camp with me, absolutely. If a girl's bisexual and will hunt girls with me, absolutely helps, right? No, absolutely, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. Those kind of things make a big difference. If the girl doesn't demand a lot of me in terms of my other time, that's a big thing. So what you start thinking at some point is that at some point, the girls that you're gonna see are hot enough, okay? They're just all fucking hot. Regardless, even your hottest one, your least hot one, they're all hot. In fact, there was a period of time where I was seeing a couple girls, and I was actually nervous to bring them out on boot camp with me because I was like, how will the students react to them? And then I brought them out just whatever. I like them. They're gonna be helpful. Whatever. I brought them out, and the students were like, they're so hot. They're so hot. I'm like, shit, right? And what I realized is after 10 to 13 years in the game, any girl that I'm gonna be willing to sleep with, 95% of guys are gonna think she's super hot anyway, right? And the other thing to think with this going after the hottest girls, I've been with some of the hottest girls. I've been with girls that are paid $250,000 plus a year just to be hot. So I think you have to call that a 10 at that point, at least a 9 plus, whatever. I've been with those girls and those were not my best relationships because a lot of times they just didn't bring enough to the table in other ways. And also because no matter how hot the girl is, once you've slept with her about 30 times, like you'd rather sleep with somebody else even if they're not as hot. It just is what it is. It's just the normal thing. So you have to, like, if you're gonna take a long-term view on it, you need things other than sex and you wanna look for that compatibility. So I'll encourage you to look for that as well. But thank you, thanks. Thanks, guys. I like that I got clapped on something that wasn't super misogynistic and controversial too, which is good. Usually that's the shit that gets me applause.